right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started with this lesson, I would like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ha, Rakah, Qudash, Ma'amath. Definitely want to give double honors to the apostles of GMS and their elders. Definitely want to give double honors to my elder, Harwan, Banyasha off the Lions Den Camp, located in Jacksonville, Florida. Shalom to the sincere men, women, and children that believe in sincerity and truth. I'm Mariah, y'all coming at you with another lesson. All right, without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right. So today is Thanksgiving. This, a folly day of the Europeans. Abraham Lincoln. Basically ordained the last Thursday of every November to be the day of Thanksgiving. All right. So I was doing a little research today, and I ran across this article, man. And it was a particular part in this article that kind of hit home for me. Well, I ain't gonna say hit home. It caught my eye basically. All right, so I want to do a lesson on this. The Lord put the spirit on me to do a lesson about this particular subject that we're finna get into. I'm not sure what I'm gonna name this particular lesson, right? But again, as soon as I seen this, the spirit jumped on me to do a lesson about it. All right, so this is from the Times. It says the first Thanksgiving story covers up the all too real violence in early America. All right, it says, I'm gonna skim through this just so this video won't be so long, because if I read all of it, it's gonna take me a while to get through everything and the precepts as well. All right, it says the 17th century is having a moment. In 2019, the world observed the 400th anniversary of the arrival of the first enslaved Africans in Virginia. This year marks 400 years since English pilgrims and Wampanoags allegedly sat down to a 3-day feast in territory the immigrants called Plymouth, right? Landing on Plymouth Rock. All right, so these events have drawn extraordinary public attention, but each only makes sense when seen in the context of a century that defined enduring aspects of American life, especially European colonists' efforts to take possession of indigenous lands, right? It says, according to American lore, a group of Wampanoags joined the struggle community of English colonists for a meal in the autumn of 1621 in the 19th century. The feast became the focal point of celebration even through pilgrims. All right, so when you really go into the history of the Wampanoag peoples, it was said, all right, you might have to just dig into this, but it was said that the Wampanoag people actually fasted right before during this time. They used this time of fasting. They really wasn't eating. It was a day of fasting for them, and which further shows you, if these people was over here in Americas and had no dealing with the scriptures or the Israelites or anything like that, they wouldn't really know anything about fasting, right? But anyway, that's another story for another day. All right. Or I also have to do more research on myself. So, but I just want to, throw that out there for anybody who want to go look into that. All right. But anyway, back to it. It just kind of me when I was reading about that. Again, I didn't read up on it that much, but it was just basically, it kind of hit home for me. It was like, they was fasting. That's the same things that the Jews did, right? The Israelites, they fasted. That was a part of their practice, and, it's a part of the culture, man, to fast. And when you fast, it actually heals your body faster, because your cells start breaking down the bad stuff that's in your body, right, and rejuvenating your body, right? But anyway, it says according to, so we're going to jump down because it basically went into William Bradford and Abraham Lincoln, right, and him making the last Thursday, of Thanksgiving. So we're gonna jump down a little bit, to skip through all this. All right, so right here it says the hostile nature of European relationships with indigenous peoples, right? Because everybody should know, for the most part, the story of the Pilgrims and the so-called Indians. All right, so I'm just jump down to the point of this particular lesson. It says the hostile nature of European relations with indigenous people in North America began even before 1607, the year of the the year the English established a community in Jamestown in 1598, the Pueblo residents, right? The Pueblo, right? The Pueblo residents of Acoma in modern New Mexico rebelled against Spanish attempts to coerce them into becoming subjects of a distant monarch. After the town's residents killed a dozen Spaniards, a larger contingent of soldiers invaded the town, which had been occupied since the 12th century. After 3 days of brutal war, hundreds of Pueblos, I think that's how you say that. So like, we're gonna grab it though. We're gonna say this right.
Pueblos.
Pueblos. Alright. So like, alright, so the Pueblos lay dead. It says, after 3 days of brutal warfare, hundreds of Pueblos lay dead. The Spanish soldiers, under orders from their commander, chopped off the right foot of every man over age 25 and enslaved men and women alike. They served the hundreds of two hoppers with the idea that they would become a walking advertisement for what happens to those who resisted colonization, man. See, this is the wicked mindset of these people, man. All right. It says, all right, so I'm going to jump down a little bit to get to the point, man, and we're going to grab some pieces. It says, so now this is what caught my eye, all right? Now, this is a pretty long part, but it says, one infamous example took place on the banks of the Mystic River during an event known as the Pequot War of 1637, a conflict that might better be named the Anglo-Pequot War, fearing that the Pequot were going to form an alliance with the nearby Narragansetts and drive the Pilgrims of Plymouth to the Puritans of Massachusetts into the sea. The colonists created an alliance with the Narragansetts. According to the Plymouth governor, William Bradford, armed soldiers surrounded the Pequot village and set it on fire. The flames destroyed the Pequot weapons, homes, and families. Colonists shot at those who tried to escape. Bradford believed the soldiers killed 400 people. John Winthrop, the governor of Massachusetts, established that the total of those murdered during the war or captured and enslaved totaled 700. It was a fearful sight to see them thus frying in the fire. And it's crazy. Seeing thus frying in the fire and the streams of blood quenching the same. Bradford Bradford memorably wrote of that terrible night, but the deaths were a sweet sacrifice. And that's what caught my eye. It said, a phrase from Leviticus, for which the colonists gave the phrase thereof to God. All right. It says, but the deaths were a sweet sacrifice. A phrase from Leviticus. Right. And that's that was the phrase that Bradford used. All right. A sweet sacrifice. Man, that shit's wild, man. Let's go to the Old Testament. Let's go to Leviticus real quick. Let's see where he got that quote from. Leviticus 4, and I'm gonna scroll down. It's really going into the title says the law of sin offerings. So we're gonna jump down to verse 22. All right, it says this Leviticus chapter 4, verse 22, and it reads, when a ruler hath sinned and done somewhat through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord Yahweh, his God, right, his power, right, concerning things which should not be done, and is guilty. All right, speaking of these, these wicked devils, man. All right, but these sacrifices are strictly for Israelites, man. All right, not nobody from the Edomite family, no Edomites, no other heathens. All right, period. It's strictly for the Israelites, man. All right. But again, the heathen always want to, put themselves and basically make themselves as if they were the people of God, or if they were God. All right, changing the faces of the judges, taking people's history, rewriting history. This is what they do, man. This is what their blessing that they got from Isaac. They was gonna gain the fatness of the earth through the sword, man. All right, and that's what they do. They go around, robbing, unaliving, and and destroying the people, so they can, basically take the resources, take the land, and take their history. Right? That's what they do, and that's the spirit that they have. All right, so it says, verse 23, or if his sin wherein he have sinned come to his knowledge, he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a male without blemish, and he shall lay his hand upon the head of the goat and kill it in the place where they killed the burnt offering before the Lord Yahweh. It is a sin offering. And the priest, again, all of this is for the Israelites. The Lord didn't ordain no other people to do this, man. All right, this is strictly, the Lord gave this to the Israelites, man. All right, the descendants of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, the Edomites, who come from Isaac as well. All right, they had no parts in this, man, at all. Right, because the birthright, it went to Jacob. So and then the Lord telling he was gonna have 12 great nations come from his womb, right? And those were gonna be his people, right? Not the Edomites. He said the Israelites was gonna be his people, right? So and this is why Moses ended up receiving the Ten Commandments, right? And so on and so on. The Edomites had nothing to do with none of this, man, whatsoever, right? Esau was already broken off, and out creating his own families, during this time, right? And during this time that Leviticus is going through. Lost my precept. So again, this is strictly for the Israelites, man. All right, not for those wicked ass devils. I think I was at 23, right? All right, so it's Leviticus 4:23 again. Or if his sin wherein he have sinned come into his knowledge, he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a male without blemish, and he shall lay his hand upon the head of the goats and kill it in the place where they killed the burnt offering before the Lord, and in his sin offering. All right, so verse 25. All right, it said, and the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out his blood at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering. All right, so now we get to the points. Now it says, and he shall burn all his fat upon the altar. Right, he shall burn all the fat upon the altar. So in this wicked individual mind, he might have read the scriptures and knew about the sacrificial laws on how to sacrifice, right? So they was out there burning the people. Remember, cutting off their foots and burning them, right? This is why he made that statement. It says, and the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with the finger of Slakia. Verse 26, and he shall burn all his fat upon the altar as the fat of the sacrifice of peace offering. All right, a peace offering. It says, and the priest shall make an atonement for him as concerning his sin, and it shall be forgiven him. But that's not going to be forgiven him. They thinking they burning up the Israelites, the so-called Gadites. So like the so-called Native Americans, who are the Gadites. All right. That was an unlawful thing for them to be doing, man. That was an unrighteous thing for them to be doing. All right, should I say? And for him to make that quote, right, and that he got from this particular chapter, Leviticus, that sweet savor, right? We finna get that in a second, right? That's that's blasphemy. I ain't gonna say that's blasphemy. That's a wicked thing for them to speak out of their mouth, right? For one, right? His words are gonna get him, destroyed. Right, because I'm sure they'll be back for their they'll be back for their judgment and judgment day when Yahweh shall come back. All right, for that sweet savory comment that he made. All right, it says, right, but this is where he got it from, man. That's that wicked mindset that they have, right? It says, Right, it says in verse 27, and if any one of the common people sin thereof, so like a sin through ignorance, right? And if any one of the common people sin through ignorance, while he doeth somewhat against any of the commandments of the Lord Yahweh concerning things which ought not to be done, and be guilty, or if his sin which he have sinned come to his knowledge, then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a female without blemish for his sin with which he hath sinned. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay the sin offering in the place of the burnt offerings. And the priest shall take of the blood thereof with the finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of the burnt offering, and shall pour out the blood thereof on the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, and the fat, as the fat is taken away from off the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor unto the Lord Yahweh, and the priest shall make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. Right? But it's not going to be forgiven for them, man, because they shouldn't have been, for one, he shouldn't have made that comment, and for two, that's not the way they should have went about, right? Trying to take people's lands, take their resources, taking their history and burning them, and then had the audacity to call it a sweet savor, right? What it said. It says, Bradford memorably wrote of the terrible night, but the deaths were a sweet sacrifice, a phrase from Leviticus, man. All right, that was not a sweet sacrifice, man. Sweet savory sacrifice for the Lord, man. All right, let's grab something, and we can prove that. Let's go, Slaki. Phone, man, tripping. All right, let's go. Proverbs 15:8, and it reads, it says, verse 8, Proverbs 15:8, it says, the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but the prayer of the upright is his delight. The way of the wicked is an abomination unto the Lord Yahweh, but he loveth him that followeth after righteousness, right? So who are the wicked, man? All right, because it clearly just said the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination of the Lord. All right, so who are the wicked? And let's go to Malachi. All right, this is Malachi 1. And I'll start from the top, but the point is in verse 4. All right, on who the wicked is. God loves love for Jacob. All right, it says, the burden of the word of the Lord Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord Yahweh, right? He talking to the Israelites. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? And that's, our people still say that today. We went through persecution, we went through slavery, and people feel like the Lord doesn't love us. That's why it says this in this particular chapter. It says, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau's Jacob brother? Saith the Lord Yahweh, yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage to waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, they should build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. See, this is in Malachi on chapter 1. All right, the Lord has an indignation against these people forever. But what was the point? It says the border of wickedness, right? He shall call them the border of wickedness, right? These Edomites. That's the title or the description that the Lord gave these people, man. The same people who came over here and brought us on these slave ships and came to enslave our fellow brethren, the so-called Native Americans, the Gadites. All right, but the Lord called these people the border of wickedness, right? So when you go back to Proverbs 15:8, what the Lord said, he said, the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, right? So as I was reading that quote from Bradford, when he came over here to the Americas, he said it was a sweet savor for him to kill the Indians, right? But the Lord clearly says in the scripture that the Lord called the Edomites the border of the wicked, and that the wicked anything that they sacrifice is an abomination to him. So again, this is all wickedness that these people were doing when they came over here and brought us over on slave ships, when they enslaved the people that was here, right? Northern and Southern Kingdom, man. They continuously laid a stroke on and had an iron yoke around our neck continuously, man. And even to this day, these wicked devils, man. All right, let's go to Proverbs 21 real quick. This is Proverbs 21 and 24, and it reads, "Proud and haughty, scorn is his name. Proud and haughty, scorn is his name. Scorner, Salakia, is his name, who dealt in proud wrath." Right? You can definitely look at the Edomites today, even back then throughout their history, and they're proud and haughty scorner, right? and they dealeth proudly in their wrath. What was their blessing from from Isaac, right? They was gonna gain the fatness of the earth through the sword, right? It says, verse 25, "The desire of the slothful killeth him," right? Because these are some wicked people, man, right? This is why they love to enslave people, so they could sit back and whip and give out commands, right? They could sit back and kick their feet up, man. Right? For his hands refuse to labor, he Salakia. Yeah, he coveteth greedily all the day long, right? Look at the doctrine of that he tried to push out and keep our people from even reading the scriptures, right? During the times of slavery, forcing our people to eat the pig, right? And the bad parts of the certain animals, man. It's just all pure wickedness that these people did to our people, right? As a whole, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It says, verse 27, Salakia. It says, "But the righteous giveth and spareth not. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination. How much more when he bringeth it with a wicked mind," right? How much more when he bring it with a wicked mind, man, right? And that's their mindset, right? The wickedness, man. That's their core foundation, all right? This is why the Lord called them a border of wickedness, man, forever, all right? I'm going to end this on this last precept. This is 2 Thessalonians, man. Let's go to the New Testament. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. All right. We'll start at verse 3. "Let no man deceive you by any means, for the day shall not come except there come a falling away first," right? And that temple fell. That's when our falling away happened. "And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." Right. Right. This is what these wicked devils do, man. Right. Trying to act like this is definitely not what the Lord looked like. Stemming back to the Borgia family, if I said their last name right, man. All right. The first crime family, man. Right, and these people set themselves up in high places to make it seem like they was the all-time rulers of this earth, that they was here first, that they are gods, and that Job 9:24, the Lord, the world was given into the hands of the wicked, and they covered the faces of the judges thereof. Right? How do they do that? They go around changing the history, changing the paintings, right? Raising up the next generation through false history, man. Right? This is the mindset of these wicked people, man. All right? This is why the Lord wants us to be separate from them. All right? Be separate from these wicked people. Be separate from the world, right? Because their ways is foolishness to him, man, and wicked. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it there, man. I gotta start getting my house cleaned up, man, because while I'm off today, I get a chance to get some stuff done around the house that I ain't had a chance to do in a couple weeks. All right, and I'm probably gonna go grab me a little something to eat, like a sub sandwich before they close, cause it's stupid ass day. All right, but right now it's just a day of me, getting my house in order, man. All right. For those who celebrate this day, man, you might want to go into the history, understand that, this is not a day of remembering anything good. This is only a day to remember the genocide that these colonizers, you know, committed, right? And the destruction and persecution that these people brought to the northern and to the southern kingdom of Israel, man. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. So like, without further ado, all right. So it's like it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it, man. Again, all praises to the Most High, right? And it's and through the name of His only begotten Son, and, all right. And we're gonna do that in the proper language, man, which is the Paleo Hebrew. All right, my next lesson is probably gonna be on the word Allah, because but that's gonna be I go into detail when I create that video. All right, but Allah just means power. All right, or like God, the word God. It's a title. It's not nobody's name. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end there, Lord. When this lesson was edifying, man. Shalom to the elect, DTA to the wicked, man. All right, Hapatah Yahweh Shah, man. The water for giving me the strength and power to do this lesson, man. Shalom and DTA.